You need to quit! I've had enough of your antics!
The violent Andy walking barefoot, smell of defeat. Got the squad rolling deep, can't stand on their feet. Can feel on the grip, hands in the dough, funny pot. Sticky fingers, palm looking, the block stay hot. Cyraxx, shadow boxing, swinging at the air, undefeated in delusion. Reality don't care, Jupiter creeping, got the whole crew shook. Predator rhymes, got a band from the book. Josh Block got the hill, bottle in his clutch. Captain of a ship that's been sinking too much. Over Navy rattling, can't step to the throne. Rory dropped the mic, let them reap what they've sown.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Thanks for stopping by the channel again today, and man, we've got a really good one for you. Lately, it seems like Cyraxx hasn't been interacting with pretty much anyone. He mostly has just been sitting in his attic, monologuing directly into the camera. And luckily for us, he's a very entertaining idiot, so even when he's just doing his delusional monologues, it's still pretty entertaining to listen to, and there's a lot to glean from it, and there's a lot to say. But, that being said, I thought that we would roll back the clock a little bit and talk about a time when Cyraxx couldn't seem to stop interacting with people even against his own will. So on today's episode of Lolcow Rewind, we are going to be talking about the Cyraxx arrest incident. But before we can get into the arrest, the body cam footage namely, which, man, body cam footage for Lolcows is like the gift that just keeps on giving. The Chris Chan body cam footage is some of my absolute favorite. But before we can get into that, we need a little bit of context for why it is that Cyraxx was arrested back in 2023. A troll who went by the name of Aware of Myself showed up outside of Cyraxx's house, or I should say Sally and Ed's house, since he'll never own anything. Aware of Myself showed up outside of the Lloyd Street house, and he was holding a sign over his head that said, "Chance Wilkins is a predator," and he was yelling some stuff. So the neighbors started coming out, they're looking around. There's actually, this is the best one that I could find, but there's like multiple different angles of this incident happening because so many neighbors came out just to record, like, hey, what the fuck is going on over at the Wilkins house, you know? So after the neighbors start coming out, the Wilkins become aware that this is happening, and Ed tries to come out, and Cyraxx just comes charging past him with a baseball bat. And the incidents that occur in this video go on to be the basis of Chance being arrested very shortly afterwards. So let's see what exactly he did to end up in the clink for the night.
Sir,
Well, you gotta go.
So right before we even get into it, as usual, just like with the low T event, one thing about Big Ed is he's always coming out sunburned with no shirt on.
You need to quit! I've had enough of your antics! All you do is butt this, butt that! Shut up!
So even though this one is so much more low resolution than the low T stuff that comes out only like, what, 2 years later, it's always so jarring to see Cyraxx in broad daylight like this. Like, it feels like, you know, in old horror movies when they had animatronics that didn't look that great, like werewolves and stuff, how they would kind of hide them in the shadows, like they would intentionally put them in low lit scenes so that you couldn't see the seams on the costumes and you couldn't see that they really didn't look all that great. I feel like Cyraxx is usually that. Like, he looks terrifying in the attic, but it feels strange to see him in full lighting like this. It just seems like he's out of place, which I guess he really is. That attic is like that's his domain. That's where he dwells.
I don't deserve shit! Everything you've done to me needs to quit! You need to back off! Enough is enough! You put me for 6 fucking years!
Oh, here he is. Come on by, buddy boy.
So he goes pretty wild there, and even though it's Cyraxx's feeble, broken little body, it's still a baseball bat, so you still got to imagine that shit hurts.
That's it. Let it all out. Let it all out, Cyraxx.
Another thing to pay attention to here as the video keeps panning back and forth is you can see they're getting further and further away from Cyraxx's house. In the years that would follow this incident, the excuse that Cyraxx constantly makes is that he was persecuted by the police for defending his own home. But you can see when the video starts, the guy was not on Chance's property to begin with. Chance then runs off of his porch, down his steps, and all the way down to the sidewalk to even, like, start this incident. And then the incident just gets further and further and further into the street. So, like, they were well off of Cyraxx's property before he even did anything, you know? So there's really no excuse, there's no legal basis for some type of a self-defense claim when you run all the way off of your property into the street to attack somebody with a baseball bat. It's a bullshit claim that he loves repeating, and I just want to strike it down before we even get there.
You are? Then run away now. Shut the fuck up.
Fine. You win. You win. Please let's go. I'm begging you.
You need to keep him away from me.
You gotta go.
You're gonna go to jail too, Ed?
You gotta get that.
You gotta go to jail too? This is public. This is public.
Not right here, ain't.
This is a public sidewalk.
This is the driveway.
Yeah, so you can see it a little bit better in the top left there. Ed comes down and decides to try to break this incident up.
Back up before you catch a charge too.
That's what you fucking think.
You know, it's kind of sad when you think about it that, like, Ed is just an old head who wants to date old lady Sally. You know, he's not even related to Chance or anything like that. And like when you're a guy that age dating a woman of that age, you probably don't think that you're really going to have to be like a stepdad to any children or grandchildren or anything like that, especially when they're, you know, 30, 32, 34 years old. But Ed on like a semi-regular basis has to try to expel people from the property to protect Chance. Like that's just such an insane role for him to be in at his old age.
Get damn right, I will murder you if I see you too, bitch. I swear to God, I will kill you. I don't care if I go to jail.
Alright, so now that we've got out of the way what actually happened, we can get into what I think is somehow even more entertaining than that initial clip, which is the body cam footage. I will warn you guys, there's a lot of things being blurred for privacy because it's police body cam footage here, but you can very clearly tell just from the color palette behind it exactly what you're looking at. He's recognizable even as, like, you know, pixelated whatever because he's just Cyraxx and there's nothing in the world that looks like Cyraxx. But, you know, he's always such a tough guy. He talks about his self-defense skills and how he's a jiu-jitsu master and, you know, he's got that necklace that he wears that he can street fight with and all that stuff. So let's see how he and his family, by extension, react when the police show up at the house to hold him accountable for his actions.
Akron, please. Hello. Hi. Akron, please. Is Chance still here?
Yeah.
Can we speak with him?
Yeah. Chance. Yeah. They want to talk to you. Is that other guy still out there?
Yeah.
So before it gets too serious, I want to say right from something I noticed at the beginning here. I don't know if it's normal around you guys for people to have a printed out sign taped to their door that says no soliciting, but I have never seen that anywhere near me before. I've seen maybe even like a sign that you stick in the lawn or like in a chain link fence, and even that's not that common. But like, you just know that they put that sign there because that house gets treated like a goddamn tourist attraction.
Now, can you come in then?
What's that?
Can you come in then?
Yep. Is this locked?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Good. Hey, Chance, we're gonna have you turn around, put your hands behind your back for me, okay? What's that?
Why?
Listen to that. Immediately, he just goes straight to like the screeching. Chris Chan handled the arrest better, man. Chris Chan was way more quiet, way more cooperative.
Who is he? Can I talk to you guys for a minute?
What?
Relax.
What?
Stop, Chance.
What?
Relax.
Calm down.
Mom, please don't
Relax.
let me
Stop. Calm down.
I'm scared.
I know
The I'm scared.
you are.
Mom, please
Don't scream. Chance. What is he being arrested for?
Assault.
What? They were listening. They were on our. Can I show you something?
We've been told to. Yeah,
So now he's to the bargaining stage of I don't want to go to prison. There's literally no situation where the police are already putting you in handcuffs where you could give them a piece of information that they would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir, my bad," and take the handcuffs off. If they're putting the handcuffs on you and taking you away as it is, they have already decided that like they have enough reason to arrest you and to detain you. Nothing's gonna change that. You know what I mean? Yeah, once you get down to the police station and once you're actually detained, you can then tell your side of the story and try to give them additional information and stuff like that. But trying to like bargain or reason with or talk police out of arresting you is completely futile. There's nothing that you can say because they're not there to investigate this crime and see if you're guilty or not. They're literally just there to arrest you, and then everything else happens in post. So everything he's about to say is a complete waste of his own time and theirs, which is really more valuable than his. But you know.
We can protect ourselves here.
Yes, we can.
We've got a witness that said
No,
that.
listen, I
Chance?
have. When I,
We've got a witness, one of your neighbors that said that.
can I?
So what Sally said right there gives you a window into a big reason that Chance is the way that he is. So a little bit of background for anybody who doesn't know it. Chance will often refer to Sally as his mom, but she's not. She's actually his grandmother. Sally's daughter, Chance's mom, was a mentally disabled woman. And when Chance was born, he was born like very, very weak, very early. He wasn't able to he wasn't a healthy child. So knowing that her daughter was not going to be able to care for Chance, Sally adopted him herself. And I think that was like a very good deed for her to do. You know, that was like a really good thing for her to do as a person. But I think unfortunately, because she came into this situation knowing Chance is going to have a very hard life just because of his background, I think she coddled him way too much. And you can see a lot in a lot of the different videos where Sally is kind of shown more prominently that she really babies him and she really feeds into a lot of his delusions. And in this scenario, Chance is very clearly, from a legal standpoint, just in the wrong, you know? But when the cops show up, she's talking about, well, we're allowed to defend ourselves here. She's immediately on his side. She's trying to, spin the situation in a way where she's doing exactly what Chance does. She's saying, no, look, you can't be mad at him because he's the victim. It's actually all these other people who are doing things to him. And it's stuff like that that's exactly where Chance gets the mentality of oh, I'd be so successful if it wasn't for the trolls, you know? So it's an interesting little window into how this guy ended up how he is, to see Sally defending him to the police when he's clearly in the wrong.
Can I show you something? Sir, before you arrest me, can I please show you something?
What do you got to show me?
These guys threatened me.
Okay.
I have proof.
Okay.
Please.
You still...
So when he says, can I please show you something before you arrest me, all I can think of is what he used to do on other people's live streams. Like when he knew he lost and his back was against the wall and he'd just stand up and be like, I got something to show you.
You can't go out onto a sidewalk and
Listen,
listen,
sir, can I be honest?
You need to keep.
Sir, can I be honest with you for a minute, please?
You got shoes.
Sir, can I please just go? I swear to God, sir.
This is fucked up.
Sir, can I please?
They're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to.
Sir, can I please, can I ask you something?
We've been asking you guys for help for a long time.
I understand. I've been out here dozens and dozens of times.
Sir, can I please?
He didn't even say the police have been out here dozens and dozens of times. He said, I've been out here dozens and dozens of times. A cop said something one time that was very similar to Andy Ditch. There's footage of during the diffuser incident where Andy was doing a little chemical warfare with his elderly parents. A police officer shows up to the house, and at one point they're going back and forth, and he just breaks down. He goes, "Come on, Andy, how many times are we gonna have to do this?" And you're like, "Oh, do you know how bad it has to be for a police officer in your town to know you by your first name? These guys go on so many calls every single day, and he knows you. He's talking to you on a first name basis and asking how many times we're gonna do this." Chance talks all the time about we've called the police 136 times, and it's just so funny that the police are so aware of these people that they already know the game before they even open that front door.
Can I make a deal with you, please, sir?
You can't make deals, Chance.
You got shoes, Chance?
Mom, please!
Chance.
I don't want to go to jail! I don't want to go to jail! Listen,
Chance.
I protected myself!
Chance.
You don't understand!
I understand, Chance.
No, you don't!
Chance, come on.
No, you
You
don't!
take him with you.
Okay.
Listen!
Tell him to get the fuck out.
I've been trying to help me!
Now he's screaming for Ed because Sally's trying to get him to comply. He just goes right to the next person. Ed said they're gonna lock me up if I help you.
Why? Can I please talk to you? I want help. That's all I want.
Hey, Chance, do you have shoes?
Yes, he has shoes.
Sir,
Where are the shoes?
I can't
Chance, where are your
get the
shoes?
bracelet.
please, sir, can I talk to you for a minute?
I gotta say, I love how calm everybody else is in this situation. Like, not only are the police incredibly calm because Chance is like 4 feet tall, so they're totally unthreatened by him in any way, but even like, you would think that if they hadn't been through things like this for Chance's entire life, that like Sally and Ed would be really alarmed right now. Like, I think anyone I've ever lived with, if the cops busted into the house and started to arrest me, it would be like kind of an emotional affair. Like, people would be asking all these questions and they'd be upset. Maybe they'd be yelling a little bit. But this is just Tuesday for them, right? Like, this is just such a regular occurrence in their lives being turned upside down and being interrupted by Chance's internet antics is such a common thing that they're just being like, Chance, you can't make deals with the police. Chance, I can't help you. They're gonna arrest me too. Yes, he has shoes. Like, they're not even fazed by this.
Please, I have something to show you.
Well, say it.
These people made death threats towards me, and I have proof. I have proof
Yeah,
that one
let
of
me
your
show
own...
you one they made on me tonight.
Yeah, my partner said he
No,
saw it.
Mom,
Are you
Grab.
ready to- Okay, but there's no way for us to prove that that was him.
Yeah, so that's a good point. With the death threats, it's like if somebody sends you an anonymous death threat, that does not give you the right to just assault strangers in public under the, under the, what, the guise that, like, that stranger could have been the one that sent the death threat. Like, people don't realize that there's actually the burden of proof that your own life was directly in danger when you're trying to use a self-defense claim is on the person who did the self-defense. Like, you individually have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, I was directly in bodily danger. I feared for my life in that situation. And not only did I use force to try to protect myself, you also have to only use like a reasonable amount. You have to use like the minimum amount required, you know? So like if somebody comes at you with a baseball bat, you don't get to use a rocket launcher, just to put a ridiculous example out there. So, running into the street with a baseball bat because you got an anonymous internet death threat is not proportional to someone standing outside of your house with a sign and not even coming onto the property.
So we have to go.
Mom,
We're gonna tell him to leave, okay?
Mom,
But
get my phone and show them,
he has
please.
That's our sidewalk. I don't know if maybe they're different. I don't claim to know how property law works across most of the US, but around me, typically, in a typical home, typical property around me, your property extends to the sidewalk. There is no, it's your sidewalk. You didn't lay the concrete. The homeowner didn't lay the concrete. The person who built the home didn't lay the concrete. The city did that. It's the city's sidewalk. It's the township or the county sidewalk. There's no situation where somebody with private property owns the sidewalk that's attached to the public street. That makes no sense to me.
Ed, call Karen right now.
Okay. Anything in your pockets, Chance?
Can we stay here and talk? No, I want you, please.
So when Chance says, I know I'm pausing it a lot here, but there's a lot to unpack. When Chance says, Ed, call Karen now, Karen is Sally's personal friend who rents them the house at like a ridiculously low rate. I think they pay like $450 a month, which is like half of what you would pay for a studio apartment in my area in a terrible neighborhood. You know what I mean? So like he's now thinking that maybe if we call the landlord, she can let the police know, because she'll know better than the police, that we actually own the sidewalk, which means it was fine for me to attack this guy with the baseball bat. So at this point, you might as well take the cuffs off and just tell me to have a good night. Like, that's how delusional he is, that he thinks like some threats from burner Reddit accounts on his phone and a call to the landlord are gonna just make this whole thing go away.
And you guys gotta take him out in front of him, right? That's fucking bullshit too.
Can you make him leave before you take him out?
We'll make sure that he's okay. Okay.
We don't want this on camera.
Okay.
I don't want to
we
Because
can't,
this is what they're doing.
we can't stop that. though.
Yes, you can.
No, we can't.
Yes, you
No, we're
can.
not stop.
Can't stop.
Mom, please, Ed, call Karen right now. Please call somebody to stop this.
The irony of them trying to get the police to get rid of the people outside with the cameras because they don't want this situation being put on the internet, only for the body cam footage in its entirety to be put on the internet.
Nobody gonna stop it. They gotta take you no matter what. And anybody steps in, they're gonna take them too.
I don't know where his shoes are.
Can I please?
You don't want to go barefoot, I promise you that.
No, Mom, please help me. Mom,
I can't do anything, Chance.
That's just what Chance needs. He's already enough of a target. Let him show up to jail in his fucking grandmother's slippers.
I've been telling you.
Sir, listen,
Get these on your feet.
Chance,
I
step
want
in.
to know.
Chance,
I want to know something, please.
Chance, put the slippers on.
Put
You don't
the
want to go
slippers on your
barefoot.
feet. I will go to court for you.
I want to know something. Why didn't you guys do anything before when I screamed for help?
Yo, you can see in the footage as it pans back and forth that these two people who are touching Chance to detain him are not wearing gloves. I know I've mentioned on the channel a couple of times before that for a little while I was a prison guard when I was in college, and man, I gotta say, when we had someone show up to intake who looked like Chance and we had to process them in, like skinny, possibly on drugs white dude, the stringy hair, just all twitchy and freaking out. I mean, you were doubling the latex gloves up immediately. You would not catch me ever trying to put on or take handcuffs off of that guy without some type of protection. They're gonna have to burn those uniforms afterwards.
I screamed for help so many times. Why didn't you help us?
All right, Chance, we're walking out.
Mom, I love you.
I love you too. Don't sit on the seat up there.
I want to know why you did this to me.
Chance, don't say anything. Hey, don't give in.
He is not a predator.
Yes, he is, Sally. Yes, he is.
This is public.
Hey, don't say anything.
Hey,
Keep
I want you to know that.
The Wilkinses in general have absolutely no concept of how the law works, and you would think after all these years of running afoul of it, one of them would take the time to, like, I don't know, do a little bit of reading, because, yeah, they were all talking inside about, like, well, before you take him out to the police car, can you try to get rid of the people with the cameras and stuff like that? And it's like, no. What do you guys not understand about public property? They're standing there holding their phones on public property. They're not breaking any laws. They're not doing anything that you're not allowed to do.
That right here ain't.
This is a public sidewalk.
I tried to scream for help.
Okay.
Can I ask you something? Why didn't you guys try to help me when I screamed for help?
I don't know when you're referring
for
to.
help.
All the time I screamed for
All
help.
right, Chance, over there.
As if they're supposed to just hear him yelling in the attic. Not even all the times I called for help, all the times I screamed for help. Like, you know, as they're just driving their route, they're supposed to hear him wailing in the attic and go knock on the door and be like, hey, Chance, buddy, is everything all right? Is it the trolls again? You want us to go pick up Music Biz Marty and William Glory Hole and throw him in Guantanamo Bay? Like, what is he even talking about?
I'm sorry that this happened, but I
Trial when they arrest you for being a pedophile.
All right, you gotta go.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well,
right.
didn't you guys need me to go down to the station?
No.
I was sticking around for you guys to come and...
No, we're good.
Okay, but
Yeah,
just
No.
this is done.
Well, technically, I'm allowed to be here till 11. I'm going to leave. I'm just letting you know this is public.
Okay. Yes.
They need to realize that. You
We-
can't
we-
assault somebody.
We told them that.
Okay. Okay, well, the law gives a fuck,
Sir.
Ed, so...
Okay, well, the law gives a fuckhead is, it is like everything that I say almost every time one of these things happened, wrapped into one concise little statement. Even to the cops, he's being like, you know, I know I'm allowed to be here until 11. This is why the trolls always win against these lolcows constantly, is because they usually have the wherewithal to look up like 2 or 3 little, you know, jurisdictional things just to figure out exactly what it is that they're allowed to do. Like, I'm sure this guy looked this stuff up ahead of time, and if like somehow the sidewalk wasn't, you know, public property in this county in Akron, then he would have just stood in the street, you know. But that they keep themselves on the right side of it to provoke you so that they can not get in trouble, and then you do. It's not that complicated.
I know,
You
but
don't
just
care about the law?
Just stop engaging with them.
No, I understand. I understand, but they need to realize that you can't assault
okay.
people.
We explained that to him.
Okay,
We
well,
told him, and he's under arrest
You
for assault.
understand you shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Okay, well,
You wanna-
you need
you
to
wanna
understand you
speak
need to
back
stop
there?
protecting your child
just wanna-
predator son.
You guys can call and let me know what's going on. Or...
So he'll be able to call you once he gets there.
Go take a perk.
Okay, I gave him his phone number. So I don't know what mine is. It's number.
Okay.
So, all right.
Yes, ma'am. So Chance was last time Chance was in jail?
The only one time.
Okay.
And it was years ago. Which is
So for anybody who doesn't know what Chance was in jail for last time, Chance was arrested for assaulting Sally. He choked her out, and then when he got caught doing it, he claimed that he like blacked out with rage and didn't even remember it. That was all the way back in 2012. So again, going back to my point that I made earlier about her like just babying him, like I know again that like he's this feeble little skeleton of a man, but she's also an elderly woman, so it's like for her to continue to treat him like he's this helpless little puppy after he did that to her, it gives you insight into why he doesn't think that there's ever consequences with anybody else, because there's never been consequences with his own family.
They're getting all this information from it. They're getting this old stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there was a nurse in there, noticed Chance's stature and stuff, and they put him in a place by himself. If that can be done tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to the county. We don't have any control over that. I mean, we can let them know. But
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
She's even trying to negotiate protection for him in the prison. She's trying to say he's so weak that he can't defend himself, when the thing that he was just arrested for was that he ran down off the porch and started a fight with a baseball bat. So, you know, which is it?
So court time or anything like that?
What's that?
Court time?
We don't know yet. It's assigned by Summit County. Yeah, so it's all assigned by the county.
All right.
We don't control that.
But somebody will call, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine he's going to have a low bond on Monday or something. Or...
Ed's continuing to beef with Aware of Myself.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be on the books. Take a perk 30.
Hey, you gotta step back.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm just filming. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for actually doing something.
Take a perk 30, Ed, is crazy. I just gotta say, I said this during one of the other Cyraxx streams where we were talking about, no, you know what? It was during an Andy Ditch stream when Andy and his dad were arguing outside about diapers being destroyed. I was just like, you know, I really am a nosy neighbor. I really do think it's funny, like when my neighbors start screaming on the porch and stuff like that, or, you know, one person's in a car and the other one's on the steps and they start yelling back and forth. I do love to go like sit by the front door and see what's going on. But like it's never really that entertaining. You know what I mean? It's usually like somebody's taken too long to unload the trunk and the other guy was beeping, so now they're starting to yell. This is if I were these neighbors, I would cancel my cable subscription. The only thing I would ever do for entertainment is I'd invest in a nice pair of binoculars and I'd sit on my porch and just watch this shit unfold. There's more plot lines than a telenovela. They're talking about child predators. They're talking about Ed needing to take a perk 30. The police are showing up. There's like multiple people from Chance's Rogues Gallery showing up to fight him. I mean, this is the best show on earth.
Hey, Chance, you already did, okay?
Let's pull away. Self-transport, just call for a wagon. Reload.
What's that?
You want self-transport, just call for a wagon. One's available anywhere. I don't know. He sounded like he was busy, I'm not sure.
It looks like he's free. Yeah, if you want to go just into the park right here. Okay.
Car sound.
The only way that these two officers could be ignoring Chance's crying in the back any harder is if they like turned the radio up to drown it out.
We had a 36 one Mail County. Our 31 is going to be, what is this? The Summit County, the Summit Lake Nature Center parking lot.
Hey, Chance, I'm going to read this to you real quick, okay? Since you're in handcuffs in the back of the car, you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that? Anything you say can will be used against you in the court of law. Do you understand that? You have the right to talk to the lawyer, have him or her present with you while you're being questioned. Do you understand that? If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. Do you understand that? You can decide at any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand that? Okay. Can you just walk me through what happened again tonight? What's that? Well, we know how it got started. We only could deal with what's going on tonight, though.
That's always how Chance answers every question. The little bit that you can hear, you can't even really hear him, but you know what he was trying to say just from the fact that the police officer responded by saying, we can only deal with what happened tonight. Anything. Like, you could be like, Chance, what did you have for breakfast this morning? And he'll be like, well, the only reason that I had what I had was because in the summer of 2005 my best friend died. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like he can never just tell you straight what actually went on.
Okay.
They were keeping an eye out for him.
Copy, and 1-5 when you get to district. 807 Donald Avenue for 10.
We don't know where these things from. I know their voices. These are the same guys that was
Okay. Did you guys call the police when that happened?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And you got a report? And you got a report for that?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Chance, tonight. Okay. So when all this unfolded, what happened? Like, what made you go outside?
I was upstairs, and I honest to God saw one of the guys on our property.
How many people did you see outside? Okay, just the one guy?
So Chance just did two things that you should never ever do in this situation. What he wants is obviously to be not held accountable for this. He wants to use a self-defense argument to claim that this was not his fault. But he super fucked up with two things there. The first thing that he did is he said, I was upstairs. So you're admitting right from the rap that you were nowhere near the incident that was happening. You weren't in any physical danger. You actually went to them. You were all the way upstairs. You were perfectly safe in the attic. They weren't, trying to kick the door in, and you went to them. So he's discrediting a self-defense claim already just by saying that he was somewhere safe when the incident began. The second thing that he does is he says, honest to God, I swear they were on my property. But we have footage from 7 different angles, both from Aware of Myself himself and then also from multiple different neighbors, that he was not on the property at all. So now you've also showed people that you're willing to lie under oath. You're totally just going to lie about the story, so you've damaged your own credibility as well. So now the rest of everything that you say, people can't even really take it for certain anyway, because they know that you lied about him being on the property when you can clearly see that he's not. So honestly, not that he's ever been able to do this, but Chance's best bet during this car ride probably would have just been to stay quiet, but instead he does a masterclass in saying everything you could possibly say to ruin any type of self-defense argument that you might have for yourself.
I saw him, then 8 more came down following.
Okay, you believe that those 8 were with him?
Yes, they were. They actually admitted that they were with him.
Okay. And so then what happened? So you were inside your house when you observed this?
Yes, I was inside, and they would not leave.
Where were they at when you said they would not leave?
They were like right there on the front of the driveway, like not like right, like on the crosswalk right there.
Yep. On the sidewalk. Okay.
So again, just to clarify some of the facts that we know in post, there were not a gang of 8 people. There was not a mob that showed up like Chance was Frankenstein waving torches and pitchforks. It was just Aware of Myself. He showed up in his ninja mask with his sign, and then because he was out there with a sign yelling, and that's not something that usually happens outside of a house, multiple of the neighbors went out to go interact with him and see what was up and talk to him. So if there's any truth to Chance saying that there were 8 people down there, I don't even think at any point there was 8 people all at once, but the other people who were going back and forth were his own neighbors that he would have recognized, just trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay.
I went to go defend my property because I did not know, and I gave the guy warning he would not do it, so I swung the bat to get him to leave, not to harm him, but
I don't remember a warning. I remember him yelling, "It's been 6 years!"
Get him to leave.
Okay.
And he grabbed the bat, and that's what pushed him back onto the sidewalk. And then that's when he said that he wanted to press charges. This guy has been harassing me on my phone.
Was there anybody else around when you swung that bat, or was it just the one person?
Yes, I was on the porch watching.
Okay, but
that is not what they mean by anybody else around. They're trying to establish whether there was a mob of 8 people out there when you swung the bat. He goes, yeah, there's people out there. There was Ed. Ed was on your side. That's making you look even worse.
I'm saying with the protesters.
I don't know.
Okay. The witness that observed it said that he was the only person that was standing on the sidewalk.
No, before you guys got there, they ran because they didn't want to get in trouble. And Ed can tell you for a fact that there was multiple people there. There was about a half dozen people. And Ed can tell you for himself. I wasn't even harassing us. They had somehow got our landlady's phone number and her Facebook. They don't know how. they began harassing her.
So every time that Chance says, you know, they're bullying me on my phone, they got this person's Facebook from that person, it's just like these cops' eyes are glazing over. They already told you they can't even include in the report any details other than what actually happened tonight. So all this stuff about like, well, people are mean to me on the internet means nothing in reference to this situation.
Several days.
Is connecting to somewhere in the U.S. and is acting like a hotspot. And I'm only able to do stuff like, you know, Messenger on Facebook and stuff like that. And all I've been doing was talking to my friends. That's all I've been doing. These people have been blowing up my phone non-stop, harassing me and my family for the past several months. And I've tried several times to be nice to these people. I've warned them several times. I even gave them warnings that if they showed up here to do harm to me or my family, or I felt like they were going to do harm to me or my family, that I would not hesitate to do what I needed to do to protect my family.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm sorry that it went this far.
Hey, Chance, I've been out here several times. I've told you to stay off the internet.
And I have.
You haven't. You just said, I mean, I'm talking over the last 6 months.
Yeah, and
He claimed, I've been off the internet for several days, as if days was a long time. And also, that wasn't true. He was doing what he always did. There's never been an extended period of time, even for a week or so, where Chance has been off the internet. He will always. He's like, you know, they say if you give a pothead pot and nothing to smoke it with, they turn into an engineer. Chance, you know, seems so unable to do anything, never leaving the house, whatever it is. But man, when the internet goes out, that guy figures out how to hook up. He will connect in one way or the other to make sure his goblin rants get out there to the masses.
And you just said you've been off the internet for several days. I mean, I told you this months ago. Okay, I've seen your videos, Chance. Like, it goes back and forth.
and those rage outs were not me.
So that's just another strike against any type of a weak self-defense claim right there, is him admitting, well, yeah, I do lash out and I do rage out, but it's not on purpose. You don't want to lash out, you don't want to rage out, but you just lose your cool and do it. I mean, that's exactly what any lawyer would bring up to hang you with your own words about you trying to say it was self-defense. Is, oh, are you sure? You sure you didn't just rage out and lash out? You've admitted you can't control that.
They were bullying me to a point where I raged out, and I felt like I had no choice but to say something. I even reached out to, you know what the police auditor? I tried reaching out to the mayor. I tried reaching out so many times. We tried to tell people that this was going on. We tried to tell people that this was what these people are doing is not targeted harassment. I actually know of 5 other people that they have done this. I don't know how I was contacted, but this is what they do.
Well, you know what, Chance? In that case, let's forget about this whole baseball bat thing. We'll take the cuffs off and we'll start this class action suit about cyberbullying instead. Like, what does he think is going to happen here?
Like myself.
What are you diagnosed with, Chance? Okay. You don't take any medications? Oh, why would you consider yourself special needs?
Wait, he just said he's special needs because of how he looks. What? I feel like that's an insult to people who would consider themselves special needs. What are you, like, are you saying that you're disabled because you're ugly? What are you talking about?
Okay.
And these guys are special needs.
Okay.
And I don't understand why. Please stop.
But you just can't stay off the internet. How do they have all your phone numbers and stuff like that?
Oh, how do they have his phone numbers and all that stuff? Because he consistently doxes himself by accident, because even after a decade on the internet, he doesn't know how it actually works.
Oh, I know. No, we tried several times to reach your help and nobody helped us. Even personal friends of mine have tried to reach out to vouch.
Oh, I bit my cup key at with that dude from the Valor home.
Oh, doing the rat?
Yeah. He started joking, jerking, and bit my cup key. Well, Chance the Rapper, sometimes you gotta take things in your own hands and redo.
Well, Chance the Rapper is crazy.
You caught. And that's where we're at today, right?
And I just want to say something that I tried to reach out for help many a time.
Well, Chance, something.
This other cop is on a totally different type time than the first two. The first two were like, I don't know. They were like very low energy with them. They were very chill. They were like, "Yeah, I know. All this stuff happened. There's nothing we could do about it. You just got to take it as it is." This guy is like positively giddy. I think maybe they were at the end of their shift, and maybe this guy's kind of early into his. But he's like, "Look, Chance, it is what it is sometimes." Like it's kind of cracking me up that Chance is having a complete meltdown in this moment, and this guy's so chill.
Unfortunately, my phone was upstairs and everything went down. But me and my family.
I have one. I can't reach it.
Oh, okay.
I have three. I have two in here. I can't reach them.
Sorry about that.
Wait, you can see right there. It's not often that you see Chance near another human being, thank God. And yeah, that guy does look like he's pretty tall, but I mean, my lord, it looks like with the blur. If you didn't know like the outline of Cyraxx by now, just from like the wispy beard and the hair and the red tank top and all, you would think he was arresting a small child. So that's it. They take Chance away. He doesn't end up spending very long in jail at all, but I mean, the incident of just them getting the body cam footage in the first place is hysterical to me. It's one of my favorite things. Anytime that you can get Chance physically out of the house, you can get other characters involved, the entertainment value just absolutely skyrockets. So that's our coverage on the Chance Wilkins arrest from 2023. We'll have some more current Rax updates coming out in the next couple of days. For all of you guys who have been with the channel from the beginning, thank you so much. We are, by the time, I don't want to jump the gun, but by the time this goes up, I think we might be over the 500 follower mark, because we're kind of knocking at the door of it right now as I'm recording it. So by the time the editing goes and I schedule it out, I think we might actually be over the line. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will see all of you guys very soon.
Get damn right I will murder you if I see you too, bitch. I swear to God I will kill you.